A man praised as a champion against racism for black people, yet some might wonder, did his diversity have to signify new divisions? While he broke barriers in Hollywood and became a hero to many, his career raises a complex question. Has Denzel Washington's fight for justice only served one side of the party? So what y'all feel about Denzel Washington as a person? What are the thoughts that come to mind? His authoritative posturing or charm or outstanding performances? Now, he is without a doubt one of the most talented actors of the present generation and an image of achievement in a career that has been discouraging for black people. Today, we examine the darker side of a man who has combated the black stereotype while being accused of building new barriers. We present the most famous Hollywood legend, the Denzel Washington paradox. Look, Denzel is not unfamiliar with the process of shattering ceilings. Like the dude exited as an ambassador of black people in Hollywood. He broke the conventional theory that black actors could not support a mainstream hit movie. He made the path for future generations. But there's one thing about his narrative that makes you cock an ear and sit up in your seat a little bit. Did Denzel unintentionally promote the exclusivism that he was fighting against racism against blacks in his fight? So let's take a step back to the beginning of Denzel's journey to understand this dilemma a little better. Denzel Hayes Washington Jr., often known only as Denzel Washington, was born on the 28th of December in 1954 in Mount Vernon, New York. He was raised in a small house in a family of a Pentecostal minister and a hairdresser. Now, this is evident since young Denzel grappling with the potency of community, faith, and discipline. Now, this guy was so assured of the mercy and favor of God that he was living a joyous life. Now, though he did have a different destiny in store for him. When he was only 14 years old, his parents decided to divorce and his mama had to send him to a military boarding school. Now, this decision shaped his life a lot. It helped open up Washington to a new level of structure while simultaneously familiarizing him with new social segregation issues that revolved around race and privilege. Once he finished up high school, Denzel joined Fordham University to further his education. Now, you might not believe it, but Washington once aspired for a pre-med course. That's kind of unbelievable, right? From a doctor to an actor, playing doctors at some point. He even gave up the medical college as his future in the entertainment sector was getting bright. But you know what? He just signed up, attended a drama class one day, and met something that he would never find again. It was true passion for acting. Now, the rest is history. However, instead of joining the field when he graduated with a degree in journalism, he'd already ventured deep into theater. Soon, the Hollywood movie industry realized that he had what it takes to be an extraordinary actor, and here he was, one of the brightest stars. As one of his first parts, Washington deliberately began constructing an image of a black actor and public figure. He turned down the conventions of stereotype roles that were expected of them in the acting industry. He wasn't the clown, the hero's friend, or the bad guy. He believed in more the merrier, and for a black man, Denzel started as a leading man, an A-lister in an industry highly dominated by white faces. Now, he bore it with intent that way. In the 1980s, the major responsibilities involving women and children's affairs placed Washington as a leading powerhouse. He acted in movies like Glory and Cry Freedom. Now, as we saw in his performances, he displayed versatility and commitment to the portrayal of black characters. Training Day, for which he won the Oscar, changed him and black actors in Hollywood. Following Sidney Poitier, Washington was just the second black actor to receive the Best Actor award. Now, talk about extraordinary, right? And look, that's not all. As Denzel's career progressed, he became more than an actor. He became a spokesperson for what black actors could aspire to be in the movie industry. He made people believe in hope. To a lot of people, watching Denzel Washington was a boost. It affirmed their existence in an industry that had given little or no attention to them for so long. It helped give them an identity. But that's also how we get into the Denzel Washington paradox. See, it's impossible to talk about him and overlook some facts about him. Now, Washington has been a vocal opponent of racism in Hollywood for most of his career, and he frequently discusses the challenges that many black actors confront on the job. But there's more to his strong defense for black representation, and believe me, that might sound uncomfortable to many, but he created distance with white co-stars. That sounds kind of crazy, right? Although it's not really super shocking, but we're not talking about ridiculous made-up stories here. In the 1993 movie The Pelican Brief, Washington was in a scene sharing the screen with Julia Roberts. Now, everybody was anxiously waiting for the couple's kiss on screen, but it was removed. Julia Roberts later revealed that Washington backed out from the scene where they were supposed to kiss. Why? He wanted to make sure that he would not offend his black female audience in any way. Yeah, he wasn't prepared to offend them by kissing a white girl. That sounds kinda crazy, absurd, right? But here's where the paradox started. Washington, who struggled for blacks to be accepted as human beings instead of lower beings, who wanted change and was ready to bring it, built a wall between him and white Americans. Just like racism against blacks, which is a horrible sin, but it's also perfectly acceptable the other way around. Like, that's a little bit of hypocrisy, you know what I'm saying? Hey look, his decision not to film the kiss, not like he was motivated by hate, but still it raises a really interesting question. Would the man who had fought and conquered so many racial prejudices in his films be preserving race cliches by maintaining some distance? Now, we do agree that this ain't really about protesting Washington. Now, his decisions were made because of the care that he had for everybody. Now, this was to maintain his image within a cult-like community that held him in such high esteem. But it also does emphasize race in the United States in its multifaceted shades. Can one still openly combat racism while participating in behaviors that can be construed as prejudice to another group? Washington's story reflects a broader societal challenge. In our fight against racism, do we sometimes overlook ways that we create division somewhere else? His actions stem from loyalty, a desire to connect with a community that supported him. Yet, did his avoidance of on-screen interracial romance show his white co-stars or audiences a little bit of racism? Well look man, whatever y'all want to believe in or call it, one thing ought to be kept in mind. Racism is not one-directional, and Washington's experience illustrates how complicated these dynamics can be. Just like black actors face prejudice in Hollywood, the reverse can also exist too. Washington, who did not actively make friendships with white actors earlier in his career, found himself in the center of discussions about maintaining cultural solidarity versus softening those lines without losing his identity. So where exactly does this leave us? The Denzel Washington paradox is not a straightforward tale of right or wrong. It reflects the complexities of race, identity, and community. Washington has done as much for black representation on screen that it's kind of impossible to overlook the legacy that the man's built. But acknowledging the full complexity of his journey is critical here. His decisions often raise some difficult questions. Well, whatever controversies his life and beliefs hold, we can't ignore the fact that Denzel Washington is a titan of the film industry and will always remain one. His performances and roles have inspired generations and will continue to inspire the future. But yet, his story is a constant reminder that even the strongest champions fighting for a cause can often find themselves caught up in paradoxes. That doesn't mean that y'all should stop fighting. Instead, just keep striving for a better world while wrestling with the challenges that come with it. But that's the beauty of the Denzel Washington paradox. It's not a simple story, it's a powerful reminder of the complexities of race and identity that exist in society. So what's your take on his stance over all these controversies? Do y'all think that he was standing on the right side of the line, or was he just another hoax trying to make his way into the mainstream views?